In a time when empires rose and fell like the tides, there was a young king whose name would echo across millennia, Alexander III of Macedon, better known as Alexander the Great. But this is not the story you've read in textbooks. It is not a tale of endless conquest or divine ambition, though those elements linger like whispers in the wind. This is the story of a man, a dreamer caught between gods and mortals, a figure who bore the weight of the world on his shoulders and still reached for the stars. Alexander was born into a storm, both literal and metaphorical. The night of his birth, it is said, the temple of Artemis burned to the ground. Priests declared it an omen, a sign that a force of nature had entered the world. His mother, Olympias, whispered to him stories of his divine heritage, claiming Zeus himself was his father. His mortal father, King Philip II, saw in Alexander a tool to shape Macedonia into a force unparalleled in the ancient world. From an early age, Alexander's life was a crucible of education and expectation. Aristotle, the great philosopher, became his tutor, filling the boy's mind with lessons on philosophy, science, and the arts. But it was Homer's Iliad that gripped his soul. Alexander saw himself as Achilles reborn, destined to carve his name into history with sword and strategy. Yet Alexander was not content to merely emulate heroes of old, he sought to surpass them. When he tamed the wild stallion Bucephalus, a horse no other man could master, it was more than an act of courage. It was a statement: Alexander was not bound by mortal limitations. The bond between man and horse became legendary, a symbol of his ability to conquer the unconquerable. When Philip was assassinated, Alexander ascended the throne at the age of 20. The kingdom he inherited was powerful but fragile, like a clay pot held together by force rather than unity. His first act was not to celebrate but to secure his rule. Alexander crushed rebellions with the precision of a general far beyond his years, earning both fear and admiration. But his gaze was already fixed beyond Macedonia. The Persian Empire, vast and sprawling, loomed on the horizon like a shadow waiting to be dispelled. Alexander's campaign against Persia was not merely a war of expansion, it was a crusade of culture, a clash of civilizations. Crossing the Hellespont, he threw a spear into Asian soil, declaring it his by right. The Battle of Issus, the Siege of Tyre, and the crossing of the Hindu Kush were not just military victories, they were acts of transformation. Each city he conquered became a mosaic of Greek and local culture, a testament to his vision of a unified world. But conquest came at a cost. Alexander's army, loyal as they were, began to grow weary of his relentless drive. His dream of reaching the ends of the earth felt like chasing the horizon, always just out of reach. In the sweltering jungles of India, his men mutinied, refusing to march any further. For the first time, the indomitable Alexander was forced to turn back, his dreams momentarily tethered by the limits of human endurance. Even as he returned west, Alexander's vision of unity began to unravel. The bonds he had forged between cultures were fragile, strained by the realities of governance and the ambitions of those around him. His inner circle grew fractious, and whispers of betrayal hung in the air. Yet Alexander pressed on, founding cities, blending traditions, and planning new campaigns. His mind raced faster than his body could follow. Then, at the age of 32, Alexander fell ill in Babylon. Some say it was fever, others whisper of poison. Whatever the cause, the man who had seemed invincible succumbed to the one enemy no sword could strike down, mortality. As he lay dying, his generals asked to whom he would leave his empire. His answer was enigmatic: to the strongest. But this is not where Alexander's story ends. His death was not the conclusion of a life but the beginning of a legend. His empire fractured, yet his legacy endured. The cities he founded became beacons of learning and culture. His vision of a connected world inspired generations of leaders and thinkers. And his name, Alexander the Great, remained a testament to what humanity could achieve when it dared to dream beyond borders. Beneath the veneer of conquest and ambition, Alexander's story is one of humanity's eternal struggle, to reconcile the divine aspirations within us with the mortal constraints that bind us. He was a man who reached for the infinite, knowing full well that he could never grasp it. In doing so, he became a bridge between worlds, a figure who still stands at the crossroads of history and myth, inviting us to ask, what is greatness, and at what cost does it come? The stars that Alexander once gazed upon remain unchanged, eternal witnesses to his life and legacy. Perhaps, in their silent glow, they remind us that even the greatest among us are but brief flickers in the vastness of time. Yet some flickers burn brighter than others, leaving trails of light that guide those who come after. Alexander's trail is one such beacon, a reminder that the pursuit of greatness, though fraught with peril, is a journey worth taking.